Back when I first got involved with the Stonehenge Alliance's campaign, I met Mike in the Stonehenge landscape to find out what he thought of the road and tunnel scheme. And he summed it up in this short clip.
I'm not in favour of the Stonehenge tunnel, it's too short. And this World Heritage Site is full of prehistoric monuments. Some of them the same date as Stonehenge, some of them older, some of them more recent. So this is actually a designation of an entire landscape. It's one of the few places, not just in Britain but in the world, where you can see a special sacred landscape develop over thousands of years. A landscape that is unique in world terms and really should be protected in perpetuity.
But people say that there will, of course, be archaeological excavations, there'll be the recording, the rescue of artifacts by top specialists. Won't we actually, if the scheme go ahead, learn quite a lot about prehistoric Britain at Stonehenge?
The main problem in terms of the archaeological mitigation is that the agencies, Highways, Historic England, National Trust, and Wiltshire County Council, are not actually imposing the level of quality that would normally be expected for working in the World Heritage Site. And we're seeing rather different standards being required of national highways. Although Wessex Archaeology will do a great job for what they're allowed to do by the agencies, they're not going to be permitted to do the total job that would normally be asked for. And outside of the Western portal, evaluation work done by contractors for Highways England, just looking at the plough soil, produced many thousands of artifacts. They're marked in this map here in blue. So the sizes of the blobs indicate the densities of finds, mostly flint artifacts and flint tools. And the density is quite staggering, as you can see, in several areas. The road line is the area marked in green. And what we know from the 1% sample of that plough soil, we can reckon that there will be 381,000 prehistoric flint artifacts that will simply be destroyed, machined off before the actual excavation of what's underneath the plough soil takes place. There is a lot we can learn by excavating it now, if we have to. It just means that archaeologists in 50 years' time, 500 years' time, 5,000 years' time are not going to have the chance. And this is what World Heritage Sites should surely be about, is preserving the humanity's heritage in the very long term. So it's double standards, and it really shouldn't be allowed to happen.
But there are some archaeologists who are actually in favor of the excavations for this road construction, aren't there? So, I mean, why do you think that is?
I think for some archaeologists, there's not an appreciation of how important this World Heritage Site is above any other landscape. And what we've learned, initially kicking and screaming because we didn't want to have to do the 100% sampling of the plough soil, is that there is a huge amount of information, and Historic England, well, it was their predecessors, English Heritage, and the National Trust were quite right to insist that we should sample everything, so that we should actually sieve all of the plough soil within our excavation trenches. And we realized that the picture we were getting was not just enhancing the archaeology of the features cut into the chalk below, but providing completely new understanding, entire periods that weren't represented by the pits and gullies below ground. Coming back to this point about why some archaeologists are so in favour of the scheme, it is because they sincerely believe that putting the traffic in a tunnel to avoid anyone seeing Stonehenge is actually an improvement of the landscape for those that are actually there and paying their money to go and see Stonehenge. So it is entirely based on an auditory appreciation of the soundscape, and just avoiding any views of traffic out of the corner of one's eye.
Here's Mike commenting on the sheer scale of the construction.
I think if we saw this development taking place, we will end up with a major constructional feature, a large earthwork, which will actually dwarf the prehistoric earthworks that make the Stonehenge landscape such a special place. What a shame that would be for the future.
And your last thoughts, Mike, your last words?
Justice isn't free, and to actually continue the legal appeals to see that the scheme doesn't go ahead in its current form, I think we'll need so many people's support. Please give it if you can.
So thank you from Mike, from me, and from all of us at the Stonehenge Alliance for your support.